Hello, my name is Dr. Anthony James, and I am a certified family life educator. And the title of this talk is The Impact of Social Relations in Adolescence. The framework I'm using for this talk is Relational Developmental Systems Approach. And essentially, this approach says that the course of development is regulated by multiple contexts of person-environmental interactions. So essentially, you have a person that is a system. You have biological, social, emotional, spiritual, if you will, changes that's going on in the person over the course of time. And they are also embedded in a context, an environmental context, where those developmental changes are occurring. And so because of the give and take between the person's development and the different contexts in which they're embedded, you have those relations between the person and the context regulating how the person thinks, feels, their physical development, and so forth. And just so I throw another level of complexity on top of it, it's also interactions within person interactions, or even within context interactions. So your mother working at a particular job may impact the fact that you have certain physical and social abilities, and so those two system interactions also impact how the person develops. So it gets very complex. But for this talk, we're just really talking about peers, in that a developing person in childhood does have peers, but as they transition to adolescence, those peers become more important, more influential on how that individual develops, how they think about schools, how they think about maybe religion or spirituality, how they think about family, what they think about the latest styles, and it just goes on and on and on. And so what you happen is the individual has been developing over time. Again, peers are present in that development, but as they enter into adolescence, those peers become more influential. The relationships become more intimate. They're closer and more impactful. And so peers start to hear things that are different than what they've always been told about the world, usually by their family. And so you have an opportunity, or there's a chance here, where you can take multiple pathways along different domains of development. Again, this could be spirituality, what they think about school, so their school achievement, their relationships with adults or relationships with other peers, and so forth, because they are getting closer and they're starting to hear how other people think about the world and the values and morals of other people. But that's not the only thing. We also have to think about what's going on within the person in their previous history, and how that also influences how or whether peers influence them. Maybe the context they live in. We know that peers have different social relations across the globe, or also that the person may have a close relationship with their parents that was positive, and so they're going to be maybe less likely to be negatively influenced by peers, but maybe more so positively influenced by peers. And so we have to think about that person's history, their own sense of morality. Are they going to be willing to engage in those negative behaviors, or are they going to be more likely to engage in those positive behaviors? So we have to think about the context and how it's changing in terms of the salience of peers, but also what it's in the history of that person, with how they think about the world, how they feel about the world, their personal relationships, what they're able to be influenced by, and so forth. And this is a relational developmental systems approach to thinking about how do peers influence adolescent development. Thanks for your time.